Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the nice presentation. So it's Imene. I'm now in Jordan, but I'm going to talk about Algerian language practices, particularly in education, higher education in particular. And before I start maybe digging down into my research data, I would like first to give you just a brief background about the languages of Algeria. So in Algeria, basically, there are a couple of languages with different status. So the first one, which is called Amazigh, the European known of Amazigh is Berber. Amazigh is the language of the original people in Algeria, and based on the fact book, there are 30% of people or speakers speak Amazigh in Algeria. It's the second official language, and that's just recently in 2016, it has been announced as a second official language. We've got Arabic language as well, which has been the official language since independence, and based on the statistics, 98% of speakers speak Arabic in Algeria. We've got varieties of Arabic, modern standard, and mainly we can talk about modern standard Arabic used in writing and official media. And we've got also Darija or Algerian Arabic, which is a dialect. And then we have French and English. French, it has got, a historical connotation of colonialism, and it has been since then the first foreign language introduced in primary school. And now, interestingly, English is also trying to take this place, and it has been recently introduced as another foreign language, first foreign language as well, introduced in primary school. So this is the languages basically in Algeria. When we talk about the medium of instruction, and this is the main topic of my research. So basically the medium of instruction, it's the official language used for teaching. In Algeria, after independence, we had what is called the Arabization process. In the Arabization process, the whole system has been Arabized, where they introduced or they used Arabic as a medium of instruction in all educational institutions. However, only science field in higher education stayed using French, and therefore I argue that it can't be called like a medium of instruction. It's just a de facto medium of instruction, because there is no policy in Algeria saying that French is the medium of instruction, but it's still used there as a medium of instruction. All the system is a francophone. All the teaching material, the official statement in science education is in French language. So that's why the question here, it's also presumed that French is the only used in science, not humanities, in science, higher education. Therefore, the question that I want to ask based on this debate of French as a medium of instruction in Algeria, and this hypothesis or assumption that French is the medium of instruction, I want really to see whether in reality and in classroom, French is actually used by both students and teachers. So I want to see the stakeholders, what they are using, students and teachers, in addition to the factors influencing these practices. So in order to answer this question, obviously, I have used classroom observation. I observed 19 classrooms in 3 universities, and also I observed these classrooms in different faculties, scientific faculties. The selection of the university was not random, was based on different I try to include as many linguistic varieties as possible, in addition to the periphery and central status of the university. Therefore, I included here, as you can see, Batna University, which is in an Amazigh area, Bouaghi University, which is between both Amazighophone and Arabophone area, and Annaba, which is basically in a region which is known as an Arabophone region. And also we have got this distinction between center and periphery. So we have got the Periphery University of Bouaghi, which is basically situated in a peripheral place, and it's quite ignored place as well. And then we have got Batna and Annaba University, which are well-known universities, and they are also top-ranked universities. So this selection of university was aiming to target as many varieties in Algeria as possible. The analysis of data, so basically I used a thematic analysis using NVivo software, and the main themes or data in my data was students and teacher use of each language, with whether Arabic, English, and French. Amazigh wasn't really noticed during the classroom observation. And also the factors in influencing the use of these languages. And we'll start with the results. We'll start with the teacher use of languages. And what has been noticed really in the classroom observation, that teacher use most often French most of the time, though they use other languages, which we will discuss, but French was the common language used by teachers. And this is because of the following factors. We've got their Francophone background, available inherited Francophone materials, and nature of the subject or department, even inside the scientific departments, the degree of the students, whether they are undergraduate or postgraduate students, and also the presence of international students. We will see each one into details and also some examples of each one. First of all, like the teacher's Francophone background. Basically, most teachers in Algeria have got a postgraduate education in French language, whether in Algeria or in France. Some of them, they get scholarships in order to study in France or other Francophone countries. So this postgraduate education or Francophone background impacted their use of French. And therefore, most of them, they try to use French language and also use the same material that they have been taught by. Like here in one of the department of mechanical engineering in the University of Bouaghi, one of the teachers was trying to discuss one of the topics in mechanical engineering using his own research project that he did when he was it was a part of fellowship in France. So this is a good example of how this material, Francophone background, impacted their use of French inside the classroom, which in return impact the use of French among students as well. Also, even non-Francophone, what has been noticed that even non-Francophone background teachers, they try to learn French in order to use the material that has been given by the ministry. So French, the Francophone background and the Francophone materials have influenced the use of French, and most teachers try to use French in order to adapt these materials. The second factor that influenced the use of material. So as you can see, these are some examples from the classroom. So here we have got, as you can see, a blackboard, which is like full of, scientific writing, symbols, and also French language, not Arabic language, as you can see here. This is another example as well, and this maybe it's quite clearer. Here, as you can see in the right side, here we have got French writing, and this is a typical blackboard classroom. Sometimes you can find some Arabic words, but most of it, it's just French language. Now let's see the other factors, including the subject, department, and university. French, what has been observed really in the classroom observation, French was quietly used in highly ranked department, especially in medicine and pharmacy. And in this department, usually the students are top students. Therefore, their marks in French language is quite high. Thus, it has been also noticed that students and also teachers in this department use French more than in other departments, like perhaps engineering or biology, not like medicine and pharmacy. So this is another also factor that influenced the use of French. And now let's talk about the degree of students. This example clarifies very well how the degree of students impacted the use of French among teachers. I observed a teacher that taught undergraduate classroom and postgraduate classroom at the University of Annaba. In the first undergraduate classroom, he used to use French for delivering the lecture, the formal delivery of the lecture, and also Arabic for explanation to make sure that students understand. However, in another postgraduate classroom, he used only French. Rarely he used Arabic, and sometimes just at the end of the classroom. And therefore, this doesn't really mean basically that students at postgraduate level improve their French level, but how I interpret it is that the system is favoring more Francophone students as students progress, because the system is basically Francophone, trying to protect these Francophone materials and Francophone systems, and therefore they try to favor only Francophone students to go from BA to master to PhD. And those who's got a low French language, they stay behind. And that's the final. Now we'll talk about the final variable that impacted the French use, which is international students. In Algeria, sometimes we have international students from African countries, mainly like Guinea, Senegal, and Mali. And I have observed 2 classrooms. The first one has got 5 international students. The second one has got 1 international student from Tanzania. What has been observed that in these classrooms, French is mostly used more often than Arabic. However, in undergraduate classroom or first-year student classroom, the teacher tried to use Arabic for Algerian students. And it seems there is an agreement between the department and these international students to allow the teacher to use Arabic sometimes for Algerians in order to understand. And this is clearly manifested in this quotation. I had a discussion with the Tanzanian students. And as you can see here, he said most of them, teachers, speak French, but because I can't see here, but because I am the only foreign students, I have already talked to them, to the department and teacher, and we have been talking about sometimes they have to use Arabic, so to make others understand. And for him, it's okay to do that, as long as the teacher first start with French, explain everything in French, and then explain for other Algerian students in Arabic language. So here we finished with the French use of teachers. Now let's see their Arabic use. Teachers don't really use Arabic most often at the beginning. However, there are 2 factors. There are some factors that influenced their use. And the first one, it's the Arabophone background of students. If you remember in the first slide, I said that the education system, it's Arabized in Algeria, most of it, and therefore most students, when they go to the university, they are Arabophone students. And when they go to study science in French, they find it very difficult to transit from Arabophone education to Francophone education. And this is one of the factors that led many teachers to use to use Arabic, even though they disagree with the use of Arabic inside their classroom. And of course, another factor, which is students' low level in French. Most of them have got a low level in French, which led many teachers to use Arabic in order to explain or to ensure understanding, especially if they want to ensure understanding by giving instruction, managing the classroom, explaining or discussion, and also the informal talks. Here I've got some quotation from the teachers inside the classroom. Like here, they try to signpost, and they used Arabic so they used French, and then when they want to signpost, they used Arabic in order to attract the attention of students. Like here, one of the teachers said, "What can we see here?" And then pointing to the blackboard from the first observation. So the teacher want to attract their attention. And if the teacher just used the French, no one is going to look at them. But now, like in this moment, he stopped and used Arabic in order to attract the attention, because he's 100% sure most students will understand him when he used Arabic. Now, English. So basically, I just discussed the languages that has been discovered in the classroom or observed. The language use was very limited, and the 2 factors that influenced the English language use inside the classroom is Anglophone educational background. Some teachers basically, they had their education in Anglophone countries or in Arab countries in English language. Like here, we have got a teacher who had her PhD in Jordan, in English language, though she had also a master in French in Algeria. So when she did her lecture, she presented a guidelines in English language, and she also presented them in English, because she thinks, or she said, that students like to hear my English language, and then she translated that to French language. The nature of the subject and the course as well, some subject like IT, and this is in one of the classrooms that I observed, IT classroom, the teacher tried to explain the ways or processes of designing internet sites and PDF files. And based on the teacher, there is no available resources in French to teach this subject in particular. Therefore, he presented the whole material in English, but explained in French and Arabic. The final one, which is also the availability and, as I said, the availability of using the English material inside the classroom. Like one of the teacher, even though the teacher can't really speak in English, but presented the whole video in biology in English language, and then explained the same topic in French language. So I know time is running, so now I'll try to briefly maybe talk about students' language use, and I'll start with Arabic because that's what students really use inside the classroom. Most of them, they use Arabic language because of their, as I said, Arabophone educational background. And also, especially undergraduate students and first-year students, they use most often Arabic language. Students' French use was very not limited, it was quite low compared to Arabic. And mostly the French was for terminologies, writing materials, and assignment. However, most students show difficulties and they struggle. They show the struggle using French, and even participation was very low inside the classroom, especially for first-year students. They can't really speak in French, so they just nod their head and without speaking anything inside the classroom. And it's very clear that they are struggling with using French language. The use of French was influenced basically by the content which has been provided in French, textbook, resources, and assignment. Assignment is obligatory to be submitted in French. And I've talked to many students and teachers, and they showed how they are struggling with submitting assignment in French. Therefore, some teachers, they do some strategies. Some of them, they allow the use of Arabic. Others, they give them a task like handwrite the whole assignment, the whole project with their hands in order to remember the spelling of each word. Another factor that influences the use of French is the student degree and nature of the subject, especially, as I said before, the pharmacy and medicine, that top-ranked subject in Algeria, the French is more often used among students. And also department and universities, central universities, top-ranked universities, you can find French more than periphery universities. Okay, so I need to stop now.